If you ran the second largest airline in the world and somebody told you, pick one city, just one, that's where you're gonna bet the next decade of your company, what would you choose? Most people would say Dallas. American Airlines is headquartered there, the biggest hub, the biggest network. But American already owns Dallas, and it already owns Charlotte. Those two cities are settled. The empire there is built. The question isn't what to defend. The question is where to grow next. And in the last 2 years, American has been answering that question, quietly, without a press tour, without a big announcement, by pouring routes, gates, planes, and people into one city most travelers think of as a layover: Phoenix, Arizona. This is the story of why one of the biggest airlines on Earth is making its biggest growth bet on the airport almost nobody talks about. Let me start with a number that sounded wrong when I first checked it: 40.5%. That's American Airlines' share of all passengers at Phoenix Sky Harbor in 2025. Over 20 million people flew American out of that single airport last year. Now, compared to Southwest, which has been at Phoenix since 1982, over 40 years, and built one of its biggest crew bases there. Southwest's share in 2025 was 33.3%. American is now the #1 airline at Phoenix, by a wide margin. If you were paying attention to aviation news, you may not have heard this, because there wasn't a press release, there wasn't a victory lap. American just kept adding routes, adding gates, adding planes, and 1 quarter at a time, the numbers shifted. And then in April 2026, on the quarterly earnings call, American's executives finally said the part they'd been showing without telling. The exact quote: "American is prioritizing scaling local share in its hubs by utilizing existing infrastructure, particularly in Philadelphia, Miami, and Phoenix." 3 cities. Of the 9 hubs American has, 3 named for major growth, and Phoenix is one of them. That sentence is the entire reason this video exists. Now, I want to be straight with you about what this story is and isn't, because the fact checkers in the comments deserve respect. Phoenix is not American's biggest hub. Dallas-Fort Worth is roughly 3 times the size. Phoenix is not American's most profitable hub either. By every measure the airline has shared, Dallas, Charlotte, and Washington are the profit machines. Phoenix is American's 5th largest hub. So when I say American is betting on Phoenix, I'm not saying Phoenix is the crown. I'm saying it's the next leg of the throne, the piece American is building out while the rest of the empire takes care of itself, the hub the airline expects will matter most 10 years from now. And once you see why, it stops being a strange bet. It starts being kind of obvious. To understand the bet, you have to understand how Phoenix even ended up on American's map, because they didn't build it, they inherited it. Twice. Phoenix was the hometown of an airline called America West, founded in 1981. Small, scrappy, based right there in the desert, America West built Phoenix into its hub through the 80s and 90s. Then, in 2005, America West did something that almost never happens. It bought a much bigger bankrupt airline, US Airways. The merged company kept the US Airways name but was run from Arizona by America West's people. The CEO was a guy named Doug Parker. Then, in 2013, US Airways merged again, this time with American Airlines, to form what's still the biggest airline in the world. Same CEO, Doug Parker, on top. So, American Airlines didn't choose Phoenix, they inherited it. And historically, when airlines inherit hubs from mergers, they kill them. Cincinnati, Memphis, Pittsburgh, the graveyard is full. Phoenix survived because the people running American, the ones who came up at America West, never forgot where they started. Robert Isom, the man running American today, joined America West in 1995. He grew up in this airline knowing what Phoenix meant. So when he took over and had to choose where to grow, he was never going to abandon the city where his career began. That history is half the story. The other half is what Phoenix has become in the last 5 years. In 2020, a Taiwanese company called TSMC, the company that makes most of the world's most advanced computer chips, announced it would build a factory in Phoenix. The initial price tag was $12 billion. By 2025, that number had grown massively. After a White House announcement in March, TSMC's total commitment to Arizona reached $165 billion. Not million, billion. The largest single foreign direct investment in American history. And TSMC isn't alone. Intel has been in Phoenix since the 1970s and just received nearly $4 billion in federal funding for new factories. Amazon, Meta, Microsoft have all built operations there. Per Arizona's own state economic agency, since 2020, the state has won more than 60 semiconductor expansions worth over $205 billion in investment, more than any other state in the country. Now, think about what this actually means for an airline. A chip factory needs engineers from Taiwan flying in for 2-week installs, executives traveling between Phoenix, San Francisco, Dallas, and Seoul, equipment suppliers in Germany and the Netherlands sending teams, contract workers from across the US flying in for shifts. This is exactly the kind of business demand airlines dream about. High-frequency, premium cabin year-round. The kind of passenger who doesn't really care about the ticket price as long as the flight works. That demand didn't exist in Phoenix 10 years ago. It does now, and it's exploding. The bet American is making isn't really on Phoenix as it is today, it's on Phoenix as it will be in 2030, when TSMC's factories are fully running, when Intel's plants are at scale, when Phoenix has stopped being a snowbird town and started being one of the most important industrial cities in America. So Americans sees the chip money coming. The next question is, what are they actually doing about it on the ground? Because seeing the future and investing in it are two different things. And this is where the bet stops being theoretical and starts showing up in the schedule. For the summer of 2026, American Airlines announced something it hadn't done in a decade. It added 7 new routes from a single hub. 7 from Phoenix. That's more new routes than American added at Dallas-Fort Worth, the headquarters, more than Charlotte, the fortress, more than Chicago, the legacy giant. The list reads like American is filling in a map. Bozeman, Montana, Anchorage, Alaska, Rapid City, South Dakota, Kalispell near Glacier National Park, Lincoln, Nebraska, McAllen, Texas, Abilene. A lot of these are smaller cities, some are seasonal, but that's the point of a fortress hub. You don't just connect to the big destinations, you stitch together a web of medium and small ones that nobody else flies, so the only way to get from those places to anywhere else is through your airport. Phoenix, geographically, is positioned almost perfectly for this. It's the natural connecting point between the West Coast, the mountain states, the Sun Belt, Mexico, and increasingly Asia. American is filling that web in route by route. The executive in charge of American's network said in the announcement, quote, "Phoenix is a hub for adventure, and these new routes make it easier than ever for our customers to reach incredible destinations across the country." You don't market a hub that way unless you intend to keep growing it. There's a more technical detail that tells you even more about the bet. The newest, most premium narrow-body airplane American flies is the Airbus A321neo. It's the one with the lie-flat first-class seats on transcontinental routes, the most profitable type of plane in the entire American fleet on a per-flight basis. Phoenix has the most A321neo departures of any American hub in the entire system. Not Dallas, not Charlotte, Phoenix. Roughly 1,000 A321neo departures in a single month, per Cirium data. This is what airlines do when they're testing a hub for premium upside. You put the best planes there, you watch how the demand holds up. If the lie-flat seats keep filling up to LA and New York and Boston, you put more of those planes there. Maybe, eventually, a wide-body. And as a hint of where this is heading, Phoenix got its first non-stop flights to Asia in December 2025 and January 2026. Not on American's metal yet. Those flights are operated by China Airlines and Starlux, 2 Taiwanese carriers, both flying to Taipei. But Starlux partners with American. Every passenger landing in Phoenix from Taiwan can connect onto American's domestic network. And American's executives know perfectly well what comes next. If those flights stay full, eventually American flies them itself, with a wide-body, from Phoenix. That's still in the future, but the infrastructure for it is being put in place right now. Let me give you the real version before I wrap, because you've earned it. This bet is in progress. It is not won. American is the #1 airline at Phoenix right now, but Southwest is still huge there and not going anywhere. Phoenix is still American's 5th biggest hub, not its biggest, and the airline has not added Phoenix to its trio of officially most profitable hubs. Dallas, Charlotte, and Washington are still that trio. The Asia flights aren't American's yet. The new terminal hasn't broken ground yet. The TSMC factories aren't fully operational yet. What American has done is line up every piece for the next 10 years. The corporate base of the future, the routes feeding the hub, the aircraft optimized for premium travelers, the infrastructure to support wide bodies, the Sunbelt strategy that ties Phoenix, Charlotte, and Dallas into a single competitive moat. Whether that bet pays off depends on whether Phoenix becomes the city American thinks it will become. But the bet itself, the strategic decision to put Phoenix at the center of the airline's next decade, that's already happening. You can see it in every route map. Here's the way I keep thinking about this. In 2013, when American merged with US Airways, Phoenix was a small post-merger hub that a lot of people inside the airline thought would slowly shrink. It almost did. The Phoenix flight attendant base was cut. International growth was paused. But the same people who came up at America West, Robert Easom, his deputies, the Phoenix natives running American, watched their hometown change, watched TSMC announce, watched the population pass 1.6 million, watched the chip money roll in, and they made a decision. Instead of letting Phoenix drift, they bet on it, quietly, patiently, one route at a time, one A321neo at a time, one earnings call mention at a time. That bet is now visible. American is the #1 airline at Phoenix. It's adding more routes there than Dallas. It's the testing ground for premium narrow-body flying. The infrastructure of the future is being built. The Asia partners are flying in. Dallas will always be the headquarters. Charlotte will always be the fortress. Miami will always own Latin America. But Phoenix is where American is building what comes next. And in 10 years, when everyone's writing the story of how American Airlines reinvented itself for the Sunbelt era, they're going to point to the period right now and say, that's when the bet got made. Quietly, while almost nobody was watching. If you want more of these, the airline bets nobody's talking about yet, subscribe, and I'll see you at the next gate.